There are two economies in this world. The first economy is the one you and I live in. If you make $1 million, the government knows exactly where it is. It sits in a bank account attached to your name, your social security number, and your home address. You are taxed, you are tracked, and if you make a mistake, your assets can be seized in an instant. But the second economy, that is a ghost town. When a billionaire makes $1 billion, the money simply vanishes. It disappears from the tax grid. It disappears from public records. And if someone tries to sue them, the money is legally untouchable. So where does it go? It doesn't go under a mattress. And it certainly doesn't sit in a standard commercial bank vault. It goes to a place where the laws of normal finance no longer apply. Today, we are exposing the dark, heavily guarded world of offshore wealth. We are taking you to the secret islands where the top 1% hide their empires, the shadow army of lawyers who protect them, and the exact loopholes they use to stay untouched. The grand illusion and the Ugland enigma. To understand these islands, you first have to unlearn everything you know about money. The middle class uses banks to store cash. The ultra-wealthy use legal structures to store assets. And the golden rule of billionaire wealth management is this: own nothing, control everything. If you own nothing on paper, nobody can take it from you. Not the IRS, not a competitor, and not a lawsuit. But to pull off this magic trick, you need a physical location on Earth that refuses to share your secrets with the rest of the world. Welcome to the tax havens. These aren't just vacation spots, they are financial fortresses. Take the Cayman Islands, for example. It is a tiny strip of land in the Caribbean. Its population is just around 70,000 people. You would expect its economy to be based on tourism and fishing. Instead, it is one of the largest financial centers on the planet. Take a good look at this building. It's called Ugland House. It looks like a standard, boring office complex where you might go to visit a dentist. But this single 5-story building is the registered legal address for nearly 40,000 different multinational companies. How is that physically possible? Because those companies don't exist in the real world. They are ghosts. They are shell companies. The shell game and the layering matrix. A shell company is a business that produces nothing, sells nothing, and has no employees. Its only purpose is to hold assets. But the ultra-rich don't just use one shell company. They use a strategy called layering. It is the financial equivalent of a Russian nesting doll. Let's walk through the exact blueprint. Step 1. You hire an offshore law firm to create Company A in the British Virgin Islands. Step 2. Company A doesn't hold your money. Instead, Company A owns Company B, which is registered in Panama. Step 3. Company B is technically owned by a trust set up in the Cayman Islands. Step 4. The law firm appoints a local nominee director. This is a person who lives on the island whose only job is to put their name on all the public paperwork. By the end of this process, your name is completely wiped from the public record. If a journalist or a tax investigator looks into the company, they hit a dead end. They find a local islander who officially directs a company, owned by another company, owned by a trust, governed by a completely different country's laws. Meanwhile, you hold a private, unlisted contract that gives you 100% of the actual power and access to the bank accounts. Your money is sitting inside an invisible, bulletproof vault. And the best part, these islands charge 0% corporate tax. The wealth defense industry. Billionaires do not set this up themselves. They don't log onto LegalZoom. They employ a shadow army known as the wealth defense industry. This is a global network of elite wealth managers, specialized accountants, and high-powered attorneys. Their entire existence is dedicated to one singular mission: ensuring the wealth of the 1% never shrinks. When you cross a certain threshold of wealth, usually around $100 million, you stop using normal financial advisors. You build something called a family office. This is a private wealth management advisory firm that serves just one single family. These offices employ teams of lawyers who monitor global tax laws daily. If a country closes a tax loophole on a Tuesday, the family office has already moved the billionaire's assets to a new island by Wednesday morning. They are playing 4D financial chess while the rest of the world is playing checkers. The ultimate defense, the Cook Islands Trust. But avoiding taxes is only half the game. The real reason billionaires use these secret islands is for asset protection. And for that, we have to look at the most impenetrable financial fortress on Earth, the Cook Islands. The Cook Islands are a tiny archipelago thousands of miles off the coast of New Zealand, and they have written their laws specifically to tell foreign legal systems to go to hell. Imagine a billionaire gets sued for $500 million. A US judge orders them to pay up. The billionaire simply shrugs and says, "I would love to pay, Your Honor, but I don't actually own that money. My Cook Islands Trust owns it. My hands are tied." The US judge then sends a federal court order to the Cook Islands, demanding the money. Do you know what the Cook Islands government does? They throw the court order in the trash. By law, the Cook Islands do not recognize foreign court judgments. It doesn't matter if you are the Supreme Court of the United States or the European Union. If you want to sue someone who has their money in a Cook Islands Trust, You literally have to fly out to the South Pacific. You have to hire a local lawyer who by law is not allowed to work on a contingency fee, meaning you pay millions up front, and you have to fight your battle in a court system that was designed from the ground up to make you lose. It is practically impossible. The island acts as a titanium shield against lawsuits, divorces, and bankruptcy. The free ports hiding the physical wealth. But what if your wealth isn't just in cash or stocks? What if your wealth is physical? Classic cars, literal tons of gold bullion, and priceless Picasso paintings. You can't upload a painting to a digital shell company in the Caribbean. For the physical assets, the billionaires use a different kind of island. An island on land known as a free port. A free port is a massive, ultra-secure warehouse usually located right next to an international airport, most famously in Geneva, Switzerland, and Luxembourg. Because these warehouses are in special transit zones, anything inside them is legally considered to be in transit. This means items stored here are not subject to customs duties or taxes. The Geneva Freeport holds an estimated $100 billion worth of fine art. It holds more masterworks than the Louvre in Paris or the MoMA in New York, but nobody is allowed to see them. They sit in temperature-controlled wooden crates in the dark. A billionaire can buy a $50 million painting in London, fly it to the Geneva Freeport, and leave it in a crate for 20 years. Later, they can sell that painting to another billionaire for $80 million. The new owner just leaves it in the exact same crate, in the exact same warehouse. The painting never moved an inch, but $80 million changed hands, completely tax-free, entirely outside the public financial system. It is the ultimate invisible asset class. The leaks that shook the world for decades. This entire global apparatus, the shell companies, the Cook Island trusts, the Geneva Freeports, operated entirely in the shadows. It was a gentleman's agreement among the global elite until the largest data leaks in the history of journalism blew the doors completely off. In 2016, an anonymous whistleblower leaked 11.5 million encrypted documents from Mossack Fonseca, the world's fourth largest offshore law firm. A few years later, an even larger leak called the Pandora Papers dropped, exposing 14 offshore service providers. Suddenly, the ghost companies were given faces. The leaks exposed how over 300 politicians, global monarchs, celebrities, cartels, and tech billionaires were all using the exact same secret island structures. Prime ministers were forced to resign. Billions of dollars were suddenly thrust into the spotlight. It was the ultimate expose. The public finally saw the architecture of the two economies. But here is the most terrifying part of this entire story. Do you know what happened after the massive outrage, the global investigations, and the endless news coverage? Absolutely nothing. The final reality. The system didn't collapse. Mossack Fonseca eventually shut down, but the clients simply moved their business to other law firms. Why? Because the brutal truth of the secret islands is that almost everything happening there is 100% legal. The system isn't broken. It is working exactly as it was designed to. The billionaire class didn't stop hiding their wealth. They just built thicker walls. They found quieter islands. They moved money to states right here in America, like Delaware, South Dakota, and Nevada, which have recently rewritten their own laws to become the new global tax havens. The offshore world is a parallel financial universe. It operates right under our noses, playing by a completely different set of rules, guarded by an army of lawyers and lobbyists. The empire of the Dakotas, the American tax haven. For decades, the United States government hunted down offshore tax havens. They threatened Swiss banks, sanctioned islands, and demanded transparency. But it wasn't because they wanted to end the offshore game. It's because they wanted a monopoly on it. Today, you don't need to fly to the Cayman Islands to hide $1 billion. You just need to fly to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. South Dakota has completely rewritten its state laws to become the most aggressive, secretive tax haven on planet Earth. They created something called a dynasty trust. In normal law, a trust eventually expires. But South Dakota lawmakers realized that if they allowed a trust to live forever, billionaires would flood their state with money. So they abolished the rule against perpetuities. If you put your billions into a South Dakota dynasty trust, it is locked in a legal vault that will literally never expire. It can be passed down to your children, your grandchildren, and your great-great-grandchildren, completely untouched by estate taxes, inheritance taxes, or federal asset seizures. And the secrecy? It rivals Switzerland in the 1980s. South Dakota laws legally mandate that court documents regarding these trusts are automatically sealed from the public forever. Because of this, over $360 billion in ghost money is currently sitting in South Dakota. Chinese billionaires, Russian oligarchs, and Silicon Valley tech titans are all quietly moving their assets out of the Caribbean and into the American Midwest. The United States is now ranked as the #1 provider of financial secrecy in the world. The call is coming from inside the house. The golden passport, buying sovereignty. But what happens when hiding your money isn't enough? What if the country you live in decides to change its laws, or worse, decides to investigate you personally? If you are a billionaire, you don't just diversify your stock portfolio, you diversify your citizenship. You buy a golden passport. In the second economy, citizenship isn't a birthright. It is a commodity that can be purchased over the counter. It is legally called citizenship by investment. If you have enough cash, countries like Malta, Cyprus, Antigua, and St. Kitts will sell you a fully legal passport. You don't need to learn the language. You don't need to know the history. You don't even need to step foot in the country. For about $100,000, you can buy a passport from St. Lucia. For around $1 million, you can buy a passport from Malta, which gives you full, unrestricted access to the entire European Union. Why do billionaires do this? It's the ultimate escape hatch. If the United States decides to hike taxes on the ultra-rich, an American billionaire can simply renounce their US citizenship, flash their new passport from a zero-tax island, and instantly vanish from the IRS's jurisdiction. If an oligarch is facing criminal charges or extradition in their home country, they use their new golden passport to cross borders without being flagged by international authorities. They aren't traveling as a wanted fugitive. On paper, they are traveling as a completely legal citizen of a tiny island nation that refuses to extradite its citizens. You are looking at the privatization of sovereignty. When you have enough money, borders become suggestions and laws become optional. The philanthropy illusion, the charity loophole. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but don't billionaires give away most of their money? What about the giving pledge? What about their massive charitable foundations? This is the most brilliant PR maneuver ever engineered by the wealth defense industry. It is the philanthropy illusion. When a billionaire donates $5 billion to their own charitable foundation, the public applauds them as a hero. The media writes glowing articles. But let's look at what actually happens mathematically. By donating that $5 billion to their own foundation, the billionaire immediately gets a massive tax deduction, wiping out what they owe the government. But they didn't really give the money away. They just moved it from their left pocket to their right pocket. Because who controls the charitable foundation? The billionaire. Who sits on the board of directors? The billionaire's family. Legally, a private foundation only has to spend 5% of its assets each year on actual charity to maintain its tax-free status. What happens to the other 95%? It gets invested right back into the stock market, real estate, and hedge funds, completely tax-free. The foundation grows richer and more powerful every single year, while the billionaire's family retains total voting control over billions of dollars of capital. And it gets even darker. The newest trick is something called a donor-advised fund, or a DAF. A DAF is a financial black hole. A billionaire puts money into a DAF and gets an instant massive tax write-off. But unlike a foundation, a DAF has no legal requirement to ever spend a single penny on charity, ever. The money can sit there for a century, growing tax-free, managed by Wall Street firms who collect massive fees. It is effectively a tax-exempt checking account disguised as Mother Teresa. Philanthropy, at the absolute highest level, is rarely about saving the world. It is about maintaining control of capital while starving the public tax system of the money it needs to actually build schools, hospitals, and roads. The digital island, crypto, and the future of hiding. For the last 50 years, hiding wealth required lawyers, islands, trusts, and briefcases. It was an analog game played by old men in expensive suits. But a new generation of wealth has arrived, and they realize that the most secure island on Earth isn't located in the Caribbean. It's located on the blockchain. Enter the digital offshore. If you own physical gold, the government can seize it. If you own a bank account, a judge can freeze it. If you own a Cayman Islands trust, a leak like the Panama Papers can expose it. But if you memorize a 24-word seed phrase in your head, you can hold $10 billion in Bitcoin, and literally no government, military, or court system on the planet can forcefully take it from you. You can walk through an airport with nothing but the clothes on your back. To a customs agent, you look broke, but inside your mind, you are carrying $1 billion. You fly to a country with zero crypto capital gains tax, like El Salvador, Portugal, or the UAE. Type those 24 words into a laptop, and your empire is instantly restored. And while Bitcoin is pseudonymous, meaning it can still technically be tracked by the FBI if they try hard enough, the true dark money is moving to privacy coins, like Monero. Monero is mathematically designed to be untraceable. The sender is hidden, the receiver is hidden, the amount sent is hidden. It is a completely opaque financial black box. We are entering an era where wealth is becoming invisible, not hidden behind fake companies, but hidden behind advanced cryptography. When the 1% can move billions of dollars across the globe at the speed of light, with absolute zero trace, the traditional banking system doesn't just look outdated, it looks obsolete. The first economy burden, why you pay the price. This is the most important part of the story, because wealth doesn't exist in a vacuum. When the second economy refuses to pay into the system, the burden doesn't just disappear, it gets pushed entirely onto the first economy, onto you. Every single dollar of tax revenue that is hidden in a Cook Islands trust, or sheltered in a golden passport, or locked in a free port, is a dollar that was meant to fund the society you live in. When the ultra-wealthy opt out of the social contract, who makes up the difference? The middle class. Your income taxes go up, your property taxes go up, but the damage goes deeper than just your paycheck. When trillions of dollars are hoarded in offshore shells instead of flowing through the real economy, infrastructure crumbles. Roads aren't paved, public schools are underfunded, hospitals suffer shortages. The billionaires aren't just hiding money, they are extracting the blood from the global economy and storing it in a freezer, leaving the rest of the body to rot. The final verdict. The secret island isn't just a place, it is a system. It is a shadow network of lawyers in London, trusts in the Dakotas, vaults in Switzerland, and code on the blockchain. It is an architecture designed with one singular purpose: to separate the elite from the rules that govern the rest of humanity. The Panama Papers proved it. The Pandora Papers proved it. We live in a world where the system is working exactly as it was designed. The laws aren't broken. They were written this way on purpose, by the very people who benefit from them. So the next time you hear a politician say there is no money in the budget for healthcare, the next time you are told that taxes have to go up for the working class, the next time you look at your bank account and wonder why it feels like the game is rigged against you, remember the island, remember the trusts, remember the invisible trillions. The money is there. It has always been there. It is just not meant for you. The trusts and the golden passports. But there is a glaring question we haven't answered yet. If all their money is locked away in offshore shell companies and untouchable trusts, how do they actually pay for the yacht? How do they buy the private jets, the mansions in Malibu, and the sports teams? If they sell their assets to get the cash, that triggers a massive tax bill. So how do they spend money they technically don't have? Welcome to the most powerful, legally sanctioned cheat code in modern finance. The wealth management industry calls it buy, borrow, die. Step 1, buy, or rather build. You build an empire or buy assets, real estate, stocks, fine art. Let's say you own $1 billion worth of stock in your company. If you sell that stock to buy a $50 million mansion, the government will hit you with a 20% capital gains tax. You lose $10 million instantly. So you don't sell, you never sell. Instead, you move to step 2, borrow. You walk into an elite private bank like Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley, and you say, I have $1 billion in stock. I want a $50 million line of credit, and I will use my stock as collateral. The bank happily gives you a $50 million loan at an incredibly low interest rate, sometimes as low as 1% or 2%. And here is the magic trick. Loans are not taxable income. You now have $50 million in liquid cash to buy your mansion, your yacht, and your jet. You pay zero income tax. You pay zero capital gains tax. You live entirely off of borrowed money. Your assets continue to grow in the background, out-earning the tiny interest rate on the loan. When you eventually pass away, your assets are inherited by your children. But under current tax laws, those assets receive a step-up in basis. That means all the tax you legally avoided paying your entire life, it is completely wiped out, forgiven, erased. Your estate pays off the bank loan, and your family keeps the rest of the billion-dollar empire totally tax-free. Buy, borrow, die. It is how you live like a king on paper, while legally pretending to be broke. The illusion of choice, the invisible monopoly. But let's zoom out. The 1% are not just individuals hiding their wealth. They have organized into massive, faceless institutions. When you walk into a grocery store, it looks like you have 100 different choices. You can buy Coke or Pepsi. You can fly Delta or American Airlines. You can watch CNN or Fox News. It feels like a competitive free market, but it is a carefully constructed illusion. If you trace the ownership of almost every major corporation in the world, the lines all lead back to the same three colossal asset management firms: BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. Together, these three firms manage over $20 trillion. That is more than the GDP of the entire European Union. They are the largest shareholders in Apple, the largest shareholders in Microsoft, the largest shareholders in major pharmaceutical companies, military defense contractors, and agricultural giants. They own the banks that give you a mortgage, the companies that build the houses, and the news stations that report on the housing market. They are effectively a shadow government. They don't need to run for president or pass laws in Congress. When you control $20 trillion of the global economy, you don't lobby the government. The government lobbies you, weaponizing inflation, the debt vaporizer. This consolidation of power allows the elite to weaponize the economy against the working class. And their favorite weapon, inflation. The media tells you that inflation is a tragedy for everyone, that it hurts the rich and the poor equally. That is a lie. Inflation is the greatest wealth transfer mechanism ever invented. It systematically drains the first economy and enriches the second. Let's look at the math. If you are middle class, your wealth is likely in a checking account or a savings account. When inflation hits 8%, the purchasing power of your money is destroyed. Your groceries cost more, your rent goes up, and your wages stay the same. You get poorer, but billionaires don't keep their money in cash. They own hard assets: real estate, corporate equities, farmland, and infrastructure. When inflation hits, the value of those hard assets explodes upward. But here is the most sinister part. Remember the buy, borrow, die strategy. Remember how billionaires borrow hundreds of millions of dollars to fund their lifestyles. When massive inflation hits, the value of the currency drops, which means the value of their debt drops with it. Inflation vaporizes their debt while simultaneously inflating the price of their assets.